What's going on, guys? How we doing? One of the hardest times for me, for some reason, is the morning. I wake up with all this sort of potential, right? But day after day, I've sort of struggled to focus. I get this kind of nervous energy sometimes, and all the things that I could be doing or should be doing seem to be kind of like flying all around in my head like a whirlwind that I can't really get a good hold of, right? So I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been kind of going through that a lot myself. So in this video, I wanted to talk about basically how I've been approaching the beginning of the day to make it a productive part of the day rather than just this period of confusion and wasted potential, right? So the first thing I've done that I've changed about my morning routine or whatever you want to call it is I've drastically reduced my social media intake. And I talk about this a lot on the channel, right, about how social media consumption is such a toxic activity, right? But I feel in the morning that it is probably the absolute worst time to consume social media. You see, sleep is sort of your brain's time to heal and process things that have happened to you in the previous day. And if you notice, when you wake up in the morning, you sort of have this blank slate feeling where your mind is almost like less active and you're just sort of feeling your body and you feel sort of things booting up, almost like an engine warming up, right? And you have this period of like no thoughts. And I've really been trying lately to enjoy that period of no thought and sort of keep the thoughts away and just kind of be in my body in the morning. And I think this is like a vital and slightly kind of vulnerable time for a person too, this portion of your day, because you're almost like calibrating your systems and preparing for what's ahead of you, right? And that would make sense, right? Because when you think of an organism with the goal of like surviving and thriving, spending that first few waking hours kind of getting things booted up and like getting a feel for the challenges of the day ahead, it makes sense, right? But what we do, at least what I've done way too much, is we wake up and immediately you begin to start like shoving things into your mind in some form or another, right? It's like you wake up, you grab the phone, and before your brain is even awake, right, you're reading and watching and you're feeding on all this social media before you're even fully awake. It's like, okay, I've read 100 X posts and I've checked the dating apps and I've watched like 2 YouTube videos, and it's like, okay, I'm ready for the day. And it's like we wonder why so many people these days are like sad or they're like psychopaths or whatever they are. It's like you are actually living like a maniac. Like nobody else, none of your ancestors, nobody else in your bloodline has ever lived like this. The morning was always like a slower, kind of rising, contemplative energy, right? But now we wake up and we just immediately, like this self-imposed thing, we bombard ourselves with like this endless, meaningless content. And it's not even like good content either. It's okay. I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but I think listening to content like this is probably the best you can do on YouTube because it's simple and it's kind of like we're having a conversation, right? It's like a singular point of focus for your brain. It's not all this insane stuff, right? But it's like, imagine what kind of content so many people are actually consuming first thing in the morning, right? It's like there's literally people out there who will wake up and before they even get out of bed, before they even have moved a muscle, they've watched like 5 videos of people fighting already, and they've seen like 5 people get knocked out, like brutally KO'd already, like first thing in the morning. And it's like, is your brain even calibrated for that? It's like, does it really even know in your subconscious, sort of the primal parts of you, when you wake up and immediately it's like people are getting knocked out around you? It's like, imagine if that happened in like the 1800s or something, like you were like a painter or something, you were like translating some religious text, you wake up and the first thing you see is like all around you people are getting knocked out, flying around, and people are like yelling at each other. Like it insanely increase your stress hormones, your cortisol. I don't even really think you could think straight. And I think that's what is happening right now. And I think that's why a lot of people really can't think straight. It's like, you've seen your Mr. Beast fake super produced video already. You had to watch that in the morning you had your cereal, right? It's like you had to watch like people running across a moving train and they're like competing for money or something, and there's like 15,000 cuts and Mr. Beast is yelling at him. It's like, what are we doing, right? Like, how is your mind even yours at this point? The morning is a time for like a little bit of solitude and reflection, and what naturally happens, honestly, that's interesting, without all this artificial stimulus in the morning, what happens naturally is we start to think like, okay, the whole day is ahead of me. I'm getting like a little bit bored. What are we going to be doing today? What problems are we going to be addressing today? Because kind of that's all there would be to do. But now, endless distractions, right? Endless content, endless nonsense. And it's just really hard to quantify how that is affecting us. And I really don't think it can be good, right? So there's that. And another thing that has helped me is not going too crazy with the things you physically consume as well, like kind of like food and coffee, maybe like nicotine, weed, whatever, right? Like, whatever works for you. If you're feeling super productive and you're just watching this for fun, but you're killing it, I applaud you, and just maybe keep doing what you're doing. But I think if you give yourself a little bit of like physical solace from those things entering you first thing in the morning, at least, it's good. It's like, I still like those things in the morning, but I think it was like Andrew Huberman or whatever. I kind of think he started being the one to talk about this, where like if you can increase the window of the time between when you wake up and when you start to consume this stuff, like coffee, for example, then that's good, right? The more I thought about it, I'm drinking some coffee now, right? But I'm feeling kind of hyped up, right? But, the more I thought about that, it just kind of started to feel right? Like I started to feel a bit weird to just like wake up and immediately start smashing caffeine and all this other stuff to like influence how your brain works. It's like before you've done anything else, before my brain has had any kind of a chance to kind of ground itself and like get a good balance, a good feel for the day. Before I'm doing any of that, it's like I'm smashing caffeine and then I'm feeling like antsy and all this stuff, right? So I've been extending that window a little bit of like from when I wake up to when I start consuming things, just trying to kind of give myself time to like boot up on my own and sort of let my own brain kind of rev itself up, as opposed to waking up and immediately you're like throwing chemicals or whatever on it, nicotine, caffeine, all this stuff right off the bat. It's a little bit strange. But lastly, guys, I think this one's really important. I've spent a lot of time like waking up, just wasting time, like not knowing where to go. And it's just it's the worst thing ever. So this last thing is try to pursue your goals or get out of the house like as quickly as possible. Like as much as I like to maybe think of myself as like some sort of introvert or whatever, I really think that I'm the happiest when I'm out in the world amongst people and like making things happen, right? This is really what we are wired for. We are, we gravitate towards each other. We're social animals. So I've started to kind of to allow myself to almost like more desperately seek a way out of the house earlier. And it's like if I'm not doing something that needs to be done for a good reason, like one of the reasons you're seeing me start to upload more is just simply because I needed something to be able to do in the morning. It's like I work my civilian job in the evenings and the afternoons, and so I've just been kind of like waking up and having this time and not really knowing what to do with it, and it's just been not the best experience. So I'm like, I think this is a good time to get back to the channel because I want to have something like, I want to be doing something purposeful basically all day long. And the morning was like this big gap of like, what do I do here? Like, I could go to the gym first thing, but then I'll finish, and then I just come back, and I still have time. So it's like I've been getting more into the videos as a way to give myself another productive thing to do. And I think I'm really the happiest when I'm constantly doing things that are pretty productive, right? So, I was waking up, and I was just kind of like doing the things that I've been talking about here, right? Like I was waking up watching the random videos and the content. And when I look back on everything, it's kind of like no wonder things felt like such a disaster. It's like you wake up, you stay at the house, solitary confinement, watch 10 brutal knockout videos while you're smashing coffee and you're vaping, you're putting the nicotine pouch in. It's kind of like maniac living. And, just not having anything to do, it's just for like hours and hours. It's sort of like some weird self-imposed prison, and it's just not good, right? And so now, I'm doing that a little bit right now, to be honest. But the difference is that it's focused, right? I've been like writing, I'm making the video, I'm speaking into the mic. I know what the final result is going to be. It's going to be out there. You guys are going to get it. And it's like I've created something, and then I'm going to, get the hell out of here, man. Like, I want to be out doing stuff. Like, I have some things that I want to address. I got some phone calls I want to make. I can't wait to just, get out in the sun and drive to the gym and, see what people are up to. Like, that stuff, gives me energy when I'm, out there and there's things happening around me. It's I think, like I said, that's kind of what we're wired for. So I can't wait to just get out there and move my body around and stuff. But I don't feel bad about doing this like I would be about doing something unproductive, because like I said, it's like a focused creative effort, and as soon as I finish this, I'm getting the hell out of here. So that's sort of my third piece of advice on that. So if you're feeling weird in the morning, just try to give yourself as soon as possible something purposeful to do, whether it's you got to clean, you got to call this insurance company, the stuff that's been looming over you that you push away by the consumption of the content. You numb yourself, you distract yourself with the content. Just start kind of slowly diving in to some of that stuff that when you wake up, you give yourself some solitude. What's the stuff that your brain kind of thinks about that you usually put off with the content, and just sort of start addressing that stuff as soon as possible. And, and then probably get the hell out of there. Even if you wake up and you just can't seem to focus and you're just I'm wasting time, maybe on that day, you just got to get the hell out of there. Maybe there's nothing to really do in the morning. Maybe you just got to get out of there and start doing something else, start being around people and stuff. And, that's probably what I think I'm about to go do now. So thanks for watching, guys. This is going to be it. I really like this one. I think this is really important. And if you made it this far, please share your thoughts. If you enjoy my videos, you want to see more of these, the way to support me the best would be to just comment, subscribe, share the videos. I have a Patreon now. So if anybody is I really love this guy, you can go to my Patreon, and you could just give me $3 a month to support me. That's the only thing I have on there as an option right now. I'm going to try to expand it a little bit, but I figure, if you're trying to be an internet entrepreneur, you got to at least give people some way to send you money. So it's not too fleshed out, but if you really like me and you want to give something back, you can sign up for my Patreon and support me that way. And then you can follow me on X also, which would be sweet, because I'd like to kind of be able to post more on there and have that be a more fun experience. I think X is something where you really need a following to sort of interact with before it becomes very exciting. So would love you guys to follow me on there too. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.